Governor's speech which he gave in December 2009, and Finance Minister's budget speech, the targets which they have fixed for financial inclusion, and it's a huge target. They are saying that we should cover all the villages whose population is more than 2,000 by March 2012. So those villages must be covered in the financial inclusion. So now I'm coming to the financial inclusion part, the kind of challenge which we are facing. Now the extent of financial exclusion which exists in the country, there are only 5% villages which have any bank. So imagine 95% of the villages or habitations out of 600,000 do not have any bank. Only 40% population have bank account. This seems to be a big good figure. But let me also tell you that there are large percentage of this is where accounts are just accounts, no transactions. Or if there is a transaction of 500 rupees deposited, 500 rupees withdrawn. These are essentially the government benefit accounts which there is no saving or there is no money kept in those accounts. Life insurance cover is less than 10%, non-life insurance 0.6%, credit card only 2% people like you and me. Financial inclusion is basically 10% in Bihar, imagine. Only 10% people are included in this system. And I'm not an expert in financial inclusion, so I will not be able to say as to what are the types of financial exclusion or inclusion. I'm just saying, say having a bank account and doing business with bank is one of the indications of financial inclusion. Maybe it includes many other things, financial literacy and those financial products which I'm not going into. So there, I think we have a very huge problem. And how this problem can be resolved is actually the challenge today. This is another graph which shows as to what is the level of financial exclusion. Now, why have we not able to do it thus far? I think one is the banks are not there. Cost of operating small value accounts. See, no banker is today happy to operate NREGS accounts because you deposit the money here and you take out the money immediately the same day or whatever day of the week it is fixed for people to withdraw money. So basically, for a banker, it's a liability. It's not some kind of revenue generating exercise, and therefore they don't feel very comfortable. Lack of infrastructure, then weak delivery models, and perceived as a liability. This is, I feel these are some of the issues which I think are the reasons for financial inclusion. Now what has changed is, there are technologies and there are ecosystems in this country which can be leveraged to really make a revolution in this entire area. What happened is that mobile penetration in this country, as you know, 600 mobiles and increasing at a rate of 15 million per month, I believe. It's a huge enabler. It can provide us the communication for the financial inclusion to happen. BC model, the Reserve Bank of India has liberalized the kind of BCs, kirana shops, petrol pumps, other kinds of people who can be appointed as BCs. So therefore, without having a bank branch, you can have your presence there. So this is one. There is a communication medium which exists. And what we are saying is that we are going to enroll people in this, our system, Aadhaar, to provide them Aadhaar. And once we are going to enroll them, that will be a great opportunity for the banking system to come and enroll for their accounts. They can open the bank accounts at the time of enrollments. What will happen is that this will provide them an opportunity to acquire customers at no cost, because the entire enrollment cost is being paid for by the Unique ID Authority of India. And the state government is actually doing the verifications as to whether X is X. So that being the case, this is a great opportunity for the bankers to leverage this at the time of acquiring of the account. So we will be able to provide that first kind of initiation of people into having an account. Now, then electronic fund transfer mechanisms. Today everything is on CBS and you have the RTGS and everything. So this should be possible. So I think the technology does exist today. The mobile connectivity, the enrollments, these are going to be actually providing the customers and also the facility to do business. We have harnessed technology, and I am not talking about anything new. See, 10 years back, 15 years back, when I used to get my salary, then I used to write a check. They will go to withdraw money, and the fellows will know your signatures don't match. So you will come back, and this is a whole hassle of drawing my own money from the bank. Today, I don't visit the bank. I don't think any of us visit the bank. We just have our debit card, credit card. We can go to any ATM, draw money. So how convenient life has become for us. How convenient it has become for us. You have the ATMs, you have online transfers, you have internet banking. Automatic payment of utility bills is there. So you don't even have to write for your electricity board payments or telephone payments. Probably you can register for automatic payments and it will happen. So this technology has been harnessed by the middle class in the urban areas to actually make life easier for them. However, let's look at a fellow today in the NREGS wage payment, how he sort of suffers. So we are talking about Ram. There is a person called Ram in the bottom left, and basically he is an NREGA worker. His weekly payment is of the order of 526 rupees. This money is deposited in some bank which is 30 kilometers away from his place of residence. And that panchayat in which Ram is there, that panchayat has Thursday as the earmarked day for payment for NREGA wages in that bank. So this person starts his journey in the morning. He travels 6 kilometers, 9 kilometers or 6? 6 kilometers to the bus stop. Then he boards a bus, 14 kilometers. And this is a real example. This is from Tikamgarh district of Madhya Pradesh, Bela Panchayat. This is, and therefore he goes there. Then he stands in the line. He is fortunately able to meet the 2:30 p.m. deadline. So he does manage to collect his wages. Then he comes back. Then he pays back to moneylender, whatever. And then he, of course, gets a ration from his village. So the economics of this is that he spends 10 rupees for transport, 25 rupees as the interest cost, 91 rupees he has wasted the 1 day's wages. Fortunately, he was good. The clerk at the bank did not actually extort any or charge any money from him, so he was fortunate. Total cost is 126 rupees, which is actually out of 546. So this is 20% of the income. This is what he spends. If Ram was actually here and if I had internet banking, he could have just done it without a cost. So what is happening? This is actually double jeopardy. This is a poverty premium. Because he is poor, the infrastructure doesn't exist, therefore he is actually asked to dish out more money for availing the same service which anybody else would have availed at much less price. So therefore, we have just done on the envelope calculation. We think that more than 6,000 crores is being, every year we are having the cost of the last mile financial distance which poor have got. This is broad estimate, Narega, just we are taking the government programs, Narega, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, JSY, Indira Awas, old age, widow, disability pensions, and 64,000 rupees, fertilizer, etc. If you take, it becomes another, but we are taking only on 64,000, 10% of this is 6,000 crores that come and enroll themselves. Now bankers can, and what we are doing is, we are talking with the Reserve Bank of India, and more or less there is an agreement that the KYC norms for no-frills account will be same as KYR norms for know your resident norms for the UID enrollment, which means that once a person has UID letter enrollment done, his account can be opened without any further verification because that necessary verification has been done. Now, let me just dwell on this issue. We are talking that we will provide authentication to the people. Now, authentication, as you know, is a part of any financial transaction you do. There are two things, authentication and authorization. Authentication basically proves that you are who you claim to be. Authorization is that once it is proved that you are the person who you claim to be, then are you authorized to conduct this transaction? Now, once this authentication part is done by us, then the only part which will need to be done will be basically carrying out transactions. And now the BC model, the way it is supposed to be positioned, being in place, the person will be able to go to the BC, authenticate himself. He doesn't need a card. He can just put his finger, authenticate himself and get the money. So this is a fingerprint based authentication. We also have a system where you don't need to put your fingers all the time. What you do, put your finger once, authenticate yourself biometrically, then you reset your PIN, a 4-digit PIN, and you reset your mobile number. So you give your mobile number, you give your PIN, authenticating yourself. And subsequently what you do is that you just enter a PIN and you are transacting from a mobile. So in the mobile, you enter the PIN and then you are authorized, authenticated. So what is happening, it's a two-factor authentication which does not need subsequent biometric information. So this kind of system will enable that authentication to take place in a very, very simple manner. And therefore the person will be able to transact. And this is what is happening, is that he gives UID, fingerprint, and then suppose he deposits the money, it happens real time. Once he deposits, the BC's account